Have you ever heard of the term live connection within Power BI? And you wonder what that type of connection is. You may think that this is similar to what DirectQuery connection is. A lot of people think that these two are the same, but live connection is totally a different type of connection than DirectQuery, and it is critical to know that, because based on that you might change the way that you build the architecture of your Power BI implementation. I'm Razarad, and I'm going to show you in this video what is live connection, how it is different from other types of connections. In Power BI, we have 5 different types of connections. You can import data into Power BI, you can create a direct query connection, you can build something that we call live connection, which we talk about it in this video, composite model, which is combined of direct query with import, something like that, and then the last one, which is direct lake. Now, each of these require a whole video about it to explain it, and I have video about each of these separately. In this video in particular, I want to talk about live connection. There is a misconception in Power BI users. A lot of those users think that live connection is similar to direct query, and it is a type of connection that you do not copy data into Power BI. You are actually creating connection directly to the data source. This can be true, but it can be also not true depending on how you set up your live connection. So it is important to understand it, and I'm going to show you that what is this, how this is going to work through a demo. So in this example, I'll go to Power BI desktop environment. I want to show you where you see this live connection from scratch. So in Power BI desktop, of course, you can go and import data from any of these. I'll enable my zooming tool so that it makes it easier for me to show this. You can go and get data from any of these data sources, of course. And when you get data from these data sources, some of them by default, you will import that data into Power BI, such as Excel. Some of these, such as SQL Server, when you click on it, you would have the option to choose between import and direct query. And some of these, when you connect to, such as analysis services, which I'm going to choose right now, you see that we have the option between import and connect live, which we also call it live connection. So one thing to know at the very first about live connection is that this is a type of connection that is only supported for 4 different data sources, not more than that, just 4 different data sources. These data sources are SQL Server analysis services, tabular or multidimensional. Multidimensional is the old version of it, tabular is the more newer version of it. Azure analysis services, which is analysis services in the cloud, and Power BI semantic model. These 4 types of connections are the only types of connections that you can create live connection to. Whereas in direct query, as long as you are connecting to a RDBMS, relational database system, SQL Server, Oracle, Snowflake, DB2, any of these systems, you can do direct query or import. So connect live is different. Now, how this is different? In order to show you this, I need to have an analysis services engine running behind the scene and connect to it. Now, I'm going to show you this example through a Power BI semantic model because it works the same. Power BI semantic model is the same, using the same engine as analysis services engine, tabular model. So I'm going to first build that model, not a live connection, simple import model, and then I use that as a source for another Power BI report. So here what I'll do is I'll connect to AdventureWorks dataset, if I can find it here in the recent data sources. Apparently it's not here, so I'll go to Excel connection, I'll go to my Power BI training materials. This sample data set, AdventureWorks, by the way, is available in Radicad website, and the link to that is also available in in our Radicat website. So it's an Excel data source that has some information about a company selling bikes. I'll get customer table and I'll go and get fact table. Let's assume that we just have these two tables in this semantic model. Then I'll go and say load data. So right now I'm using import model because my data source is Excel. There is no way to do DirectQuery or live connection with Excel. With Excel you always import data. All the data sources in Power BI, you can always do import data. Some of the data sources you can do direct query. A very few data sources you can do live connection. So this is at the moment imported. This data is imported into Power BI. You can see, I'll see the tables here. If I go to the table view, I will see the data in each of these tables because the data is imported in the VertiPack engine of Power BI, the engine that runs Power BI semantic model. I can set up the relationship, but it is already there. I'm not going to change anything. I'll just build a very simple report on this, and then I publish this. So I'll say, let's bring sales amount here and slice and dice that value by something like English education. So this gives me sales amount over different education values. Just to make it a little bit more readable, I'll enable data labels as well. So this is my report, right? Let's say it just has one page, one visual. I'm going to save this report in my download folder, and I'm going to then publish this. So let me go to the download folder. I'm going to call this sample Adventure Works import model, or I would just call it Power BI. After saving it, I'm going to publish this into Power BI. So far, we haven't created any live connection yet, and I'm publishing it to my own workspace. My workspace is like your personal environment. It's a good environment for testing, not a great environment for production reports. So this report is already published there. I'll go to the Power BI website. And in my Power BI website environment, I'm here in that my workspace. So what I'll do is I'll go and search for that report, which I called it, I think, import something. I'll have to refresh this so that we get the up-to-date information here. So I'll search for import. Apparently, I don't see it in my workspace. Let me check. This is the same account as this one. Yep, that looks like correct account. And let me check this one as well. I can also click on this link, by the way, but let me check what account this is using. Yep, same account. Somehow I didn't see that report. So here is the report. I just used the direct link to that report. So here is the report, fully interactive report, like a normal Power BI report. I want to look at the semantic model for this report. So when I go to to here, get related content or see related content, I would see that there is a semantic model. I can even go to view the lineage of this, and it shows me that I have a semantic model and a Power BI report connected to it. This is a really important concept to understand, that we have these two separate items, because when you build that solution in Power BI Desktop, you just have one file. Like that Power BI Desktop solution that I built, I just had one PBIX file. But in reality, I have two objects. I have one report and I have something that we call a semantic model. This used to be called dataset, Power BI dataset. Nowadays, this is called Power BI semantic model. What is the difference? Power BI semantic model is where we have the tables, the data in the tables. If we have any DAX calculations, we have it there. The relationship between tables is there. The connection of the tables to the data source is there. So anything related to data is in the semantic model. And whenever we want to refresh the data, we refresh the semantic model. Whereas the report is just a visual layer connected to that semantic model. So this report has all the visuals, slicers, filters, and the layouts, colors, fonts, all of those, but then connected to that semantic model. Now I'm going to talk about live connection, and that is the whole purpose of this video. So I'm going to build a new Power BI file, and in that one I'm going to use what we call as a live connection. For this example, I'm using live connection as a connection to a Power BI semantic model. So instead of going to Azure Analysis Services, like using this option, going to get data, going to Analysis Services, and then providing the address for that Power BI semantic model online, which we can do it, there is a simpler way to do it. We can go and say, go get data from Power BI semantic model. Or you can also go under OneLake catalog and find Power BI semantic model. Any of these methods that you use is creating a type of connection to that semantic model, which we call it live connection. Now, what this live connection is, so based on the account that I have logged into Power BI, this will check what semantic models I do have access to. I might have a lot of semantic models. Some of these might be created by me, some of them might be created by someone else. In this case, you see this is the semantic model I have created just like a minute ago. I'll go and connect to it. Now, when I connect to it, I can create live connection, but if I edit it, I'm actually connecting to the actual model. I want to have the live connection, so I'll just normally click on connect itself. Now, when I connect to the semantic model, I'm connecting live to that existing semantic model. My Power BI desktop changes when I do that. The very first change that you'll see is at the bottom of this Power BI desktop, you see now this, connected live to Power BI semantic model, and this is the name of that model in my workspace. The second thing you'll see is that tab for the tables, the data of the tables that was somewhere in between these, I don't see that anymore. Why? Because in that model, I have imported the data. I had the tables, I could have looked at the data in the tables, whereas this is a live connection, so there is no data in this report. When you look at the top of this report also, you'll notice that there is no place to get data from, because this is not a model building environment. What happens is that Power BI desktop changes its layouts and UI to show you that now you are just building report. Remember the two layers that I talked about? Remember this view of the items that I showed you in view lineage? I'll go back to this view lineage. So remember that I told you that we have the report and we have the semantic model. Now with the live connection, we are building just the report. There is no element in Power BI to build the semantic model, although there is something called composite model where you can combine live and import. We are not talking about that, that's a separate video. Live connection, pure live connection, means that we do not do any modeling in Power BI. However, we do have this tab of model view that we can go and see the relationship between tables. You see that the tables are connected here. If I hover on these tables, it shows me that these are connected to SQL Server Analysis Services. And the reason for this name is that Power BI model, Power BI semantic model, is hosted in a SQL Server Analysis Services engine. That is what this engine is. But these are live connection, and these are icons for the live connection. So I don't see the data in the tables, but I can use this and I can go and build my visualization. If my model has like 70 tables in it, I will see all of these 70 tables. I can go and build any visualizations that I want. Let's say I'll go and say I want just total sales amount as a card visual. And it will show me the total sales amount just right here. Now this report that I'm building is a report with live connection. There is another name for this report. Some people call it thin report, a report that does not have a semantic model itself. Let's say this is my report. Let's say it just has one visual in it. I'm going to save this report and I'm going to save this as thin report. I'll just put Adventure Works as well so that I can find it later. Now I have saved this and I'm going to publish this. Now I can publish it into a totally different workspace. It doesn't have to be on the same workspace. You can then set security of how people work with it, but for my example, I'll publish it into the same my workspace that I have. So this is now going into the same workspace. Now I'll go to that report in the website. I will see this report. This is kind of the same report. If I had designed it in a way that it had charts and things like that, it would have been interactive as it would have been in the very first report. Now I'm going to look at the lineage of all of these items in here. Let's see if I can find Adventure Works. For some reason, I think something is filtered here. That is why, oh, I'm not in my workspace. I've been looking at the home. Sorry about my mistake. So here it is. So these are the things that I have built in this example so far. I have created a semantic model that came with a report automatically itself. And then I have created this thin report. What you notice is that this thin report doesn't have a semantic model. And that is why we call it thin report. This, in fact, connects to this semantic model to get its data, similar to what this report does. This report also connects to that semantic model to get its data. So in fact, whenever you are building a Power BI import model, you are also doing kind of the same thing. You are building a semantic model separately, and then a report connected live to that semantic model. But because Power BI Desktop makes all of that so intuitive, you don't feel that you are building two objects. You feel that you are building one object. What are the benefits of doing this live connection? Well, one of the most important benefits that we have within this live connection environment is that because I'm using one central semantic model for these reports, if I go and make any changes in that, both of these reports would have that change applied in them. They would have access to the measures that I create, anything like that. Let me show you. I'll go to the original semantic model file that I had. I'm going to close this one. I'm going to the original Power BI semantic model file that I had. This was the one that I have imported. And I'm going to write a DAX measure in here. I'll say, let's go to fact internet sales, and I'll create a new measure. And I'm going to write a year-to-date measure. So I would say, let's say sales year-to-date, which is equal to calculate sum of sales amount, and I'm using dates year-to-date function based on the order date field in this, and I'm using the default date table, so I add that dot date. If you are not familiar with DAX, I have many other videos about DAX. If you are not familiar with this formula for calculation for year-to-date, I have a video specifically about that too. So we are not talking about what this formula actually is. It's a formula, it's a calculation that I wrote here for calculating sales year-to-date. I'll make this a currency value with two decimal places. Now this is created here. I may not even use it in my report, right? I have created it. I then go and save it and publish it, right? So I have created a value in my, a measure in my semantic model. I'll publish it. This is going to replace the model and report that I have, and it is telling me that two reports will be impacted by this. And when you click on view impact, you will actually see the two reports impacting by this. So I'll say replace. This will replace the semantic model up in the Power BI website. Okay, now it is replaced. I'll go to Power BI website. Still we have these three items. Nothing here is changed. We still have these three items. The only thing is that these model and report are now updated. The report didn't have any changes in it, but the model has been updated and we have a new measure in it. Now I want to go to this report, which was live connection, thin report, click on it, and I want to use that measure within that report. So what I'll do is I'll go to edit. You can even edit your report in Power BI website. You can do it in the desktop as well, but you can do it in a website. So what I'll do here, I'll go and create a let's say area chart. I'll add order date, hierarchy in here. And then I'm going to use that measure that I have created. And you can see that that measure that I have created is actually here. So it's amazing that without really me recreating that measure, without me building that measure again, I have that measure already there because I'm using live connection to an existing Power BI semantic model. So I'll add that in here. And this is going to show me over the year. I'll drill down to show it over the quarters and over the month. So you see this year-to-date value increases over the month. Probably if I change it to column chart, it shows it even better. You see this is a year-to-date value increases for every month all the way till end of the year. So now that I have created this, I can save it and go to the reading view. So what was the point of doing this live connection? The point is that we have one central data model. Imagine this scenario. Let's say I'm not the sole Power BI developer in my team, in my organization. We are a group of 5. And I have gone and created 2-3 DAX calculations that are really useful. Other people in the team, they also want to use it. So what we are saying is that they use live connection to my semantic model. That way, not only they don't duplicate the data, they don't create extra semantic models, but also they use calculations that I have created within my semantic model. Which brings us to the concept of like multi-layered development. We have one person or more building the semantic model and one person or more building the reports and visualizations. You have report visualizers and you have the semantic model designers, which is a great way to build Power BI in an enterprise, in a team development scenario. So highly recommended to use this. I'll mention one other thing about this as well. In the thin report or in the report with the live connection, there is one other thing you can do as well. You cannot do modeling, but you can create measures. So this report, which is the live connection report, you can see it that it is a live connection report. I cannot do modeling if I want to keep it pure live connection, but what I can do is I can go to the modeling tab and I can create a measure or quick measure, which is similar to that. So I can actually go and build a new measure. Let's say, for example, this time I want to create a measure for something else. I can even go and say, let's go and create a quick measure, like quick measure. Let's say I want to create a measure of concatenated list of values, and then I'll add the values here to be like customer full name, something like that. And it creates a measure for me, right? So here what you see is that this is a measure created by quick measure. Is a really simple way to create a measure. And this measure is already created in my thin report, right? Which is, you see it right now here. Now here is the interesting thing about it. This measure, I can use it in my own report, in this thin report, but other users, other thin reports cannot use it because it is not in that semantic model. So if I go to that diagram of the reports, I'll go back to my workspace. If I go back to this diagram of the reports and I look at the lineage again, so what happened here, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit, what happened here, I have created this DAX measure in this. I can use it in here, but if I'm building that report, I do not have that DAX measure. That report does not have it. So that is why we call these types of measures, we call them report level measure, a measure that you go and build within your thin report. Is it good or bad? It is actually not bad, because if we are talking about self-service scenarios, I want to enable my self-service users to go and build some of the formulas things themselves, try it out, get their values, build the reports, and show it to their users. But if I want this measure calculation to be something that we use across all the reports, then we'll go and add it inside the semantic model, and that way all the reports would be able to use it. which you can create some kind of like governance process around it. If this measure in that particular thin report has been used for a while, then you might go through a specific set of processes to make sure it is written correctly, the performance is good, it follows standards that you might define, and then you go and build that in the semantic model itself. Then the thin report would just go and reuse it. This is another thing about live connection. So I talked about few things in this example. I talked about live connection being giving you the ability to connect to an existing model without importing it again. I talked about the ability that this gives you to reuse the model instead of redoing a lot of things. And the other thing is that this report itself doesn't have any data. It brings the data from here. Now, this is the place that a lot of people make mistakes, that they think that this is similar to DirectQuery because the report does not have data and the data comes from a data source. Whereas in DirectQuery, the situation is different. In DirectQuery, you are not connecting to the semantic model, you are connecting to the actual data source. Data warehouse, SQL Server database, it might be any like Oracle database, Snowflake database, which is fine. You can connect to those. Those technologies, however, don't have the analytical engine of Power BI or the semantic model of analysis services. They don't have the DAX calculation for calculation. They may not have in-memory logic of the Power BI semantic model, but that DirectQuery means that you are getting the data up to date anytime you are looking at it. With that type of connection, you might have performance issues because DirectQuery every time sends SQL queries to the data source, the result comes back. Whereas here, you have live connection to a semantic model in Power BI. This semantic model depends on how that semantic model is built. If that semantic model is import, you have a really good performance, if we consider that you have built it in the right way. If that semantic model is DirectQuery, then you might have also a slow performance. So connection between the report and semantic model is live, but connection between semantic model and the data source might be DirectQuery or might be import. Do not mix these things together. Even within one semantic model, you can have one table with the DirectQuery connection mode, which we call it the storage mode in that case, another table import, which I have explained that over 5 different videos about aggregations, how you can use aggregations, having one table, your largest table as DirectQuery, and then aggregated versions of it as import so that you have the best performance. So DirectQuery and live connections are different. Live connection is the connection from the report to the semantic model, whereas DirectQuery is connection from the semantic model to the data source, and there is another type of connection for that also called import. Depending on how fresh you want the data to be, depending on what license you have, what size of data you can bring into Power BI, you might choose DirectQuery or you might use import mode. If you are interested to learn more about DirectQuery, I recommend you to go and watch the video that I have created for DirectQuery and another video for import mode. So here you go. This is the live connection in Power BI. Very useful. I highly recommend this type of way to work with Power BI. Even if you are a single user developer in your organization, I would still recommend this because this helps you to keep your objects separately, the report and the semantic model. It might extend your time of development a little bit, but it gives you better experience in terms of having separate objects for each of these. In case your team extends in the future, you can give the report to someone to build, yourself building the semantic model, or the other way around. It gives you much more flexibility in building your Power BI solution. I hope this video helped you to understand what the live connection in Power BI is, how it is different from DirectQuery, from import mode. If you like this video, go ahead and subscribe into our YouTube channel. We have weekly videos about Power BI and Microsoft Fabric. Until the next video, bye.